Episode 135 of the TV Dudes podcast, recorded June 1st, 2017. Still here!
Still here.
Do it, June.
Woo!
We're still here, gentlemen.
Still here.
Still here. You can't get rid of us,
Yes.
TV Dudes. We're tenacious.
Yes, but
Like-
not tenacious D.
Like mole women.
Yes, like mole women,
Like-
log ladies.
Like, sad people that weren't raptured or whatever.
Right? Yep.
Is that what leftovers is about?
Hey, Les, I have a question for you.
Do tell.
Is that a log in your hand, or you just happen to see me?
It is a log in my hand. Yes, I have a stuffed log pillow.
He also has an erection.
I do.
But he's hiding it behind the log
Behind
pillow.
the log pillow. That's why I brought the log pillow. I thought you'd be more grateful.
Took a Viagra and then was like, oh shit, I got TV Dudes. Oh, jump in the car.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Are we not supposed to take Viagra before this?
No, I mean, we can.
How do you get pumped up for the show?
That's what when we take our breaks for our sword fighting.
Yes.
That we're gonna do.
Oh, God.
I think that's when you cross the streams peeing. I didn't know it was actually smacking dicks.
I mean, I'm happy to go to the TV fest, but I didn't really know what I signed up for here.
They're going to revoke our press passes.
You know, I've had to lately send our show to kind of like promote it on other little platforms,
Yep.
like send people links.
Yep.
And a couple weeks ago, we had something that was called Randy and the Magical Asshole Tour.
Yep. Yes, I remember.
1987.
Yep.
And we are starting this episode talking about smacking dicks against each other.
Yep. Something bad's happening.
I feel like this is not the way for us to market ourselves to a larger audience.
No.
Yeah, this feels off the rails in terms of marketing.
We're very niche in these terms. Yeah.
I think we're burning bridges, in
Yeah,
fact.
might be doing that too.
But hey, folks, we are talking about Twin Peaks. We're talking about a couple of the CW DC shows that hit their finale a couple weeks ago, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about the penultimate episode of The Leftovers, and we're going to be talking about Season 3 of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes.
Before we get into all that, we are the TV Dudes. I'm Grant.
I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And we got a little house cleaning to do. First up, if you guys want to help support us, there's a couple ways you can do it. Pretty easy. You can go over to iTunes Store, give us a 5-star rating, write a review. We'll read that here on the show. You can also go to Stitcher. You can write a little review anywhere on the internet, and as long as you guys send it to us. Some people don't send these, but we will read it here on the show. Another way you can help us out is to go to patreon.com/tvdudes. There you can make a per episode pledge. Give us $1 an episode, $2 if you're already making a pledge and you want to up your donation. That's A-okay with us. We appreciate it, and we're gonna be putting that money to good use. We're going to ATX Fest this year.
Yep.
4 of us are going to be doing coverage, although Ashley's going to be doing it in a little bit more of a dual role. But all of us are going to get to go to that. Is she going?
No, she's not going.
Oh, she's not going.
She
Well,
would
3
never
of us
make it.
going.
3 of us are going.
The 3 of us on mic right now are going.
Yes.
So,
And we're going to extensive coverage. We're doing
Yes.
this, all the panels, lots of interviews. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, we were just going through the schedule, and I think we've got it split up pretty well. We should see everything.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And that's all credit to you guys supporting us through patreon.com/tvdudes. And we appreciate all of your help.
Yeah, when those interviews sound way better than last year's, when you could hear all the silverware clattering, that's all down to the patrons giving us enough money that we could get a couple nice microphones to record with.
Oh, yeah. We just got new on-site little portable recording devices.
So you're going to notice that sound quality. If you're a patron, you should feel really good about that. If you're not a patron, you should feel a little guilty because you're getting by on it.
Feel a little bit guilty, guys. That's all we ask.
Or if you want to simulate last year's sound, you just rattle some silverware while the interview goes on.
Is that the third way they can support us?
Yes, the third way you can support the show is by rattling silverware at us.
Rattle silverware and tap it out into like TV
Grant,
Morse code.
can we take a moment? It warms my heart that Grant prompted the third way.
I know. He's just trying to interrupt me because we're afraid of what crazy shit I've come up with.
I never know. I figure it's better we just kind of get it done with there.
It's just safer if I hit myself with the belt.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how hard Dad might go.
We also want to remind you guys that this month we are promoting one of our fellow podcasters on the Permanent Record Network.
Permanent Record.
And that is FemTV, which you can listen to Melissa Garamonte talk to women in the TV industry. And that is at femtvpodcast.com, or you can check it out at permanentrcrd.com.
permanentrcrd.com.
Nice, guys. Let's move on to our listener questions. Once a week, we put up a little post on our Facebook page, and we get a bunch of great questions from y'all. And they're pretty fun for us to kind of pour through, and sometimes we read ahead of time. I feel like this time we didn't.
I think we're all coming. Oh, you did? Okay,
Yep.
good. I'm
I think
coming in
this might
cold.
be the first time ever that I remembered earlier today and went, I got to read the questions.
Les is prepared. All right. Let's start, as we have been lately, with Nick Thighs and his TV Revenge update. He's been doing this for, it's going on 3 months, I believe, now.
Nick Thighs is like an unofficial TV dude. He participates with with these updates.
They're so great. Let's see where he's at with this this ongoing debacle. Says, my friend decided to get back at me last week, American Gods style. When I opened the door to my room, I was assaulted by what I thought at the time were giant balloons. To my horror, I realized they were actually inflatable vaginas. My friend then came out of a giant vagina costume and yelled at me about how I was going to be swallowed by a vagina. The most disturbing part to me was how easily he found these items online. Shame on you, Internet. What TV moments do the TV dudes find the most sexually disturbing?
Wow, that was a question I did not see coming. Unless you had time to prep for this, what you got?
Pretty much anything in Scandal. I feel like the pilot episode of Dear White People did a Scandal send up. I can't remember what they called their fake Scandal show, but they nailed it. There's like a 1 minute scene where, like, Mr. President, I'm the strongest woman who's ever worked in the White House. I've done blah 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 blah. And he goes, get on your knees. She goes, okay.
Yes.
And, like, that's the whole show.
Yeah.
I feel so dirty watching Scandal. Like, it feels like a whole show that is just about showing how amazing Olivia Pope is, and then how little it fucking matters.
Yeah.
And I feel icky every time.
You know, The Americans is pretty good at sexually disturbing.
Well, like they're the kids walking in on them 69ing?
No, that was hilarious. No, I'm more thinking like all the things they have to do as part of their jobs. They have to have, like, the whole thing where he was like seducing the underage girl was creepy as hell.
Yeah.
And,
or when they show flashbacks of him as a kid,
Yes.
and having to like sleep with a bunch of like prostitutes, men and women, and all
Yep.
that as
Yeah.
part of his training.
Yeah,
up.
they really commoditize sex in The Americans, and they show how it's used as a weapon.
I feel like a couple of shows that have done it recently in a way that has surprised me at how well the sex has been done. You're the Worst has like the most train wreck sex.
Yep.
Like several episodes open with just horribly awkward, hysterical sex, or like Jimmy getting a handy under a blanket while another roommate's like,
Yep.
I mean, it's just amazing. That and Sense8. Which, for showing the least amount of genitals, that's the longest orgy I've ever seen on screen.
And it's not just one. There's
that's a lot
I don't
of-
know which orgy you're referring to.
And it's a crazily even-handed.
Yeah.
It's like they took down a list of possible relationship permutations and
Yeah.
make sure that they show somebody hooking up in every
Yeah.
one of them.
King of Queens, anytime Kevin James could in any way be considered anything more than asexual to me, that's too much.
Oh God! And doesn't he ruin his wife? In that is Leah Remini.
Yeah. Ruin her.
Like, please don't involve her in a Kevin James sex.
I mean,
scene.
being a Scientologist is the second worst thing that happened to her.
Yeah, no, because now she's fantasies that involve Kevin James in the corner of the
Kevin James and Thetans.
Alec Miracle says, what do you guys want to see happen in the penultimate season of Game of Thrones, rather? I'd like to see the White Walkers destroy the wall because it appears no longer a necessity to the story. No wall equals no magic to keep them out. I mean, I figure that has to happen, right?
I think it's got to, and also I can just imagine the sequence is going to look spectacular if that happens.
Yeah, because it's all building up to the Song of Ice and Fire, dragons and ice walkers.
I'm looking forward to some reunions. I'm looking forward to Arya running into Sansa again. I can't wait to see the two of them reunite at some
You
point.
think she's going to kill her?
No, I don't think so. I think the two of them are going to come to Arya and Sansa have both been through some shit, and I think they're both going to realize that ultimately they're sisters and they love each other. I think that's where that's going to go.
I mean, I really hope that Rickon reunites with Bran. I'm kidding.
Nobody cares about Rickon.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say ultimately, I mean, Tyrion finally getting to Daenerys was great.
That was great.
And a bit cathartic for how long we had to deal with his traveling.
Yep.
And a show that seems to relish not dwelling on traveling as much as just like getting to the meat of certain scenes.
I can't wait to see Brienne kick some ass, no matter where she does it or why.
I mean, I feel like we're not going to get a lot of those hero moments. I wouldn't even be surprised if this ends with just the White Walkers winning and everyone dies. Everyone, like, we rooted for all of this, and then George R. R. Martin's just like, wouldn't it be great if I just killed everyone that you cared about?
And you think, and the final season is just the White Walkers and what their civilization looks like now?
Just Cabin in the Woods style, like, yeah.
They're all just kind of like sitting around. It's like
actually,
Shaun of the Dead, where there's all the zombies just like playing.
It flashes to 2,000 years in the future, and it's like zombies at Starbucks and zombie Seinfeld. Yeah.
Okay.
Unpredictable.
Yeah. Next question comes to us from Dennis McElwain, who says, considering the finale of Supergirl Season 2, can any network beat the CW for their ability to spread budget? Especially considering the Season 1 finale?
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys saw this.
Yeah. We'll talk about this, but I saw a lot of people mentioning that, like, wow, no wonder there wasn't as many super fights in this one. They saved all the money for this finale. Yeah. Because it's like, big army of aliens. And...
well, I mean, there's everybody that should have come off the ship in Invasion.
Yep.
At the Superman fight. Yeah.
I mean, Game of Thrones kind of goes bonkers right at the end. Like, we got dragons and massive, like, warships and battles going on right at the end. I was like, okay, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not in pay subscription television money, for CW budgets, I feel like they have gotten incredibly smart at spending their special effects dollar.
Yeah, I agree. They find where to do it. And occasionally about middle of the season, when you're on episode, I don't know, 700, how many episodes in a CW show?
That's a separate problem that they're running into.
When they're episode 700, you're like, wow, I'm kind of tired of Flash just running in place. But it's always worth it when you get to the finale and you see where they saved all that money.
I really wish that they didn't have like an 8-episode dead period baked into these seasons.
We all do. I bet the showrunners do.
Yeah. At the very least, I wish that they could wait to introduce the big bad to mid-season, because that's what kills it. Like, Savitar's the worst, Savitar's the worst, Savitar's the worst. For 8 episodes, we can't really deal with him at all, because we've got to kill like 2 months in our lives, like while he goes and I don't know what he's doing, but he's not.
Yeah, introduce the big bad more like halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
He got caught up in a timeshare. That's actually what happened. It reminds me of like Iron Fist as well. Like, talk about like one amazing scene in the final episode of the season. And I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Where was that in anything else? When he punches the ground, it's an amazing scene. Yeah, just rest of that season. I don't know what you were doing with your budget there. Michael Gassini says, if next season's Legends of Tomorrow team undergoes a big change, which of the vast number of characters from other shows would you like to see join? And then he lists off some Nissa Al Ghul, Ragman, Mon El, the Golden Glider would be my picks. It's about damn time we get some more Sarah and Nissa. Nissa, am I saying that right?
Yep.
Interactions ever since they dropped that story when Sarah joined the Legends.
Yeah, I would love to see Nissa. I love that character in that.
Yeah,
actress.
I'm not as sold on Nissa, though she was great in Arrow season finale.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how much I liked Ragman.
Yeah, he was great.
But I really like that actor.
I don't need any more Mon-El in my life.
No,
he was fine, but boring white guy.
They did so much more with him than they should have, but we're good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. I'd rather he head up the Legion show that I hope is coming.
Yeah. That actually would make a lot more sense.
And Golden Glider, I love the idea, especially if you can somehow get Cisco in there, because the Golden Glider-Cisco relationship, I love that whole thing. You know who I want, though? I want to call an alternate. I want to bring in the Riddler from Gotham. I want him on board the ship.
Oh, I was thinking of Penguin. I never watched the
Penguin's good too, but the Riddler's interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it would be hysterical just to introduce any character from Gotham into the tone of the CW shows. Like it would be like dropping a legit gangster into a cartoon world or something. I mean, like he'd just be running things for virtue of just turning and killing people.
Actually, I would love to see Bullock and Mick just go drinking around the multiverse.
Yes.
Jonathan Haptemichael says, "Hi, dudes. My parents visited me for the past week or so and joined in my regular TV watching. My mom enjoyed the finales of The Flash and Arrow, despite not keeping up with the shows after watching the first season on Netflix with me years ago, and adored Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Season 3, without seeing the previous seasons. The awkwardness came in for Silicon Valley when she complained about the cursing and drug use that I had to keep the likes of Fargo and American Gods in the DVR backlog. Are there recent shows that you would not watch with your parents?"
Almost all of them.
The News.
I don't think we're watching the same shows.
Yeah, all of those, all of that shows.
Game of Thrones, not happening. Not going to watch that with my parents.
Last week tonight.
There are shows that I know my folks would enjoy that I can't win them over on because the premise is inherently just a little too twisted. Like, I think they would love at least the first 3 or 4 seasons. They would love all the seasons of Dexter that were good for reasonable humans to watch.
Right.
Except that they can't get their head around the fact that they might be rooting for the serial killer. And I keep trying to explain to them, like, this is kind of the premise of the show, is that you shouldn't be. Same with Breaking Bad. They just can't. Even though they have watched The Shield and Deadwood and The Wire and all these other things, like there's something about rooting for the drug dealer.
I rooted for him till the end.
And I keep wanting to say, like, no, you don't understand. That's where the dramatic tension. Anyway, they're never gonna watch those. Then there's stuff like American Gods where I watch it and wonder, like, is this going to set off like a personally offensive like issue with them from an actual religious standpoint.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do like Walking Dead or Hannibal or shows like that. Like that would just be like too shockingly gruesome, I think, for them to handle.
But I feel like American Gods, for instance, might have like a flippancy about religion in general that I find amusing in the scope of the show, but I've read the book. And I don't know, like if my mom read the book, I think my mom would watch the show and be into it.
I think the safest shows to watch with your family are comedies in general. Not HBO comedies, that's a different thing. But like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that's a safe, fun comedy to watch.
Yeah.
The Good Place.
Oddly enough, Nashville was a show that my parents watched and that we could talk about.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes to us from Zach McLernan, who says, "So I must perhaps commit blasphemy against the many-faced god of TV, but this may have been the most disappointing season of The Americans yet. It felt like, with perhaps the exception of Paige, none of the characters really moved forward other than acknowledging they won out, and me still hating Elizabeth and actively rooting for her downfall for being so unrepentantly despicable." That's blasphemy.
That is blasphemy.
Very little was done setup-wise for the final season, and the over-narrative arc seems dually pointless. Perhaps I was expecting a penultimate season in the vein of Breaking Bad, but this was terrible. I'm still hopeful that they can still have a great finale, but after this, I'm less hopeful. Thoughts?
You gonna read the hashtags?
Oh, hashtag come at me, faceless man. Hashtag look in the mirror, make a change. Hashtag Batman is very wise.
Okay, so this is where I admit I've only seen the first episode of The Americans this season.
It's on my backlog, too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I love The Americans. I think it's one of the best shows on TV, and yet there's so much else to watch, and I want to give it my full attention. Like, I'm caught up on iZombie, and it's not because I like iZombie better than The Americans. It's because I can half watch iZombie and get a full enjoyment out of it. The Americans requires me to give its full attention, and I just don't have that kind of time. Yeah. That time is going to Leftovers and Fargo and Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm. I haven't watched The Americans, but I feel like this season doing the big week-long crossover with Veep and Scandal that I saw something about a few weeks ago. I don't know. There was Russians and there was presidents and bumbling. It was weird, and I mean, I usually like stuff like that, but I don't know. It seemed like they were a little desperate.
Well, our last question comes to us from our buddy Kyle Scott, who's across an ocean, and he's down in South Africa right now.
Yep.
Yes,
he's in Cape Town.
Cape Town.
Kyle Scott says, "Dudes, holla from the other side of the planet. I only have 8 channels on TV in Cape Town: sports, news, and movies. No actual TV.
None TV.
None of my streaming services work either on this slow internet. I resorted to shadow puppets. Have you dudes ever been stranded without any TV? How did you survive? Side note, my dreams have become intense. The character development and plot twists are hyper-realistic. My subconscious is one hell of a showrunner. Miss you dudes. You two listeners. Can't wait to get back in front of a TV and a microphone.
Wow. That sounds like hell to me.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll be out with the closest I come to this is when I go up to, used to be when I went up to Dallas, my in-laws did not have internet in their house for the longest time. And so if I wanted to watch anything, and they have TV, but they, I don't watch live TV you don't watch live TV.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to watch anything, I had to reserve it on my iPad ahead of time. That is the closest I came to being without TV, and that was bad enough. No TV, no streaming services? No, thank you, sir.
I got caught short in England, but I want to say we used something like Tunnel Bear or something to get around the region thing and watch some Netflix. But
I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's a bear that tunnels to you and brings you TV.
I don't understand the mechanics behind it either.
You have honey at the ready for him.
But
yes.
Yeah, there was something that someone with us did that got Netflix running. But yeah, whenever I used to go home to my folks, I would just watch the TV Guide channel because they had live TV, and it was baffling to me.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to go back to live TV, and I grew up on live TV. I used to watch everything, and now I just can't even get.
I don't download stuff to like an iPad or anything like that. So when I travel in airports and things like that, I just binge read novels.
Yeah, it sounds like such sweet freedom to me. Just be like, I can't watch TV. I can't get anything right now. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And now I can rest, eternally rest.
All right, so news this week, and a lot of the news is kind of sad news. So I'm gonna get that right out of the way. So Netflix has canceled 2 shows. They canceled The Get Down, and they canceled Sense8.
Philistines.
Yes, it's too bad.
It's interesting because I was also reading this news story about I don't remember the CEO of something Reed of Netflix, but he was
Donna
talking.
Reed.
Huh?
Donna Reed.
Reed Hastings?
Is that
Reed
what
Hastings? No, it's Reed Hastings. That's right. Donna Reed was a
Richard Reed?
Reed Richards. Yes.
Okay. Anyway, he was talking about how he's still really into pushing crazy ideas and really pushing boundaries in TV, and he really wants his execs to go seek out and do innovative projects like that. And I'm like, and you got rid of the Get Down and Sense8?
Well, did you see what he said? It was interesting, and it sounds to me like a cover, but he basically said, he's like, we're not canceling enough stuff. He's like, we need to be. He said, we're not taking big enough chances because we're not canceling enough stuff.
You have to kind of keep
He wants some big misses.
Yeah,
and I think it's almost like he was disappointed he hasn't had big misses. I mean, other than the OA, which is getting a second season for some reason.
How is House of Cards seasons 4 and 5 not working towards a diminishing return here?
Yeah, I know. But
you said something earlier about that I thought made sense, Randy, that neither of these were huge shocks. These are both got to be highly expensive shows, both in terms of talent behind the camera, in terms of location and effects, and so much that goes into these
shows.
When at least with Sense8, you could simply take that script and have Britt Marling just read it aloud to a community theater troupe in an unfinished attic, and that seems to speak to people because they gave that a season.
You mean the OA?
Yeah, I got a season 2. Fucking Philistines.
Yeah. I think I actually thought The Get Down was a good one-season show. I don't necessarily need more of that. I am bummed about Sense8 because I thought they really hit a groove on season 2.
I was really liking it. I thought they were hitting a great balance between the philosophical, we're all bonded, how do we get through our normal lives like this, along with this super spy biological thing, like War of the Species going on.
But the other thing is, I think that neither of these shows were huge hits, I don't think.
And I will say, I felt like the second part of Get Down was weaker than the first.
I agree.
And if that's Baz Luhrmann taking his attention away from it, Netflix was right to go, yeah, we can't do this then.
Yeah, I wasn't hurt by that one getting dropped.
Yeah.
And I never watched Sense8. So.
I'm more bummed about Sense8 going, but I'm not shocked at the thing. It's not unlike what you said in the question segment, Grant. To me, it's like, 2 more shows off the docket.
Write those ones off. Sweet. What else we got then?
So I want to mention, this one's on your rundown, but there's a story going around. There may not be a Fargo season 4.
Oh, yeah?
That John Landgraf basically said, he's like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, once you see the finale, he's like, unless he has a great idea, we probably won't do it. Now, that does mean that if Noah Hawley comes back and says, I got a great idea for season 4, they'll do it, I'm sure. But he's sort of prepping people for this might be the final season.
That's fine, as long as he focuses on, what's it called?
More of Legion?
More of Legion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I have at this point now, I don't think there's any risk of Hawley not moving on to something great.
Yeah.
Whatever he does next it will just be great.
I agree. And here's the funny thing. Fargo is probably my favorite show on television, bar none. It's like above Better Call Saul. It's above Game of Thrones. And yet the news that this might be the last season doesn't bring me sadness. I can only think we were at peak TV.
Yeah.
That I'm not worried that, this great show is gone. It's like, something else great is going to come along.
Did you see, not to jump ahead, but in Kimmy Schmidt, there's a line of how do I know that you're a real person and not a ghost to the crazy older lady's boyfriend?
Yeah.
And he goes, Americans is a great show.
Yes.
But I can't never have time to watch it.
He said
TV.
this was a great line because it just came out of nowhere. He's like, we're living in peak TV when a show like The Americans is taken for granted.
Yeah,
that one cut a little deep because I was like, yeah, totally right.
Very true.
It's really good.
God, I love Kimmy Schmidt.
And so, okay, other news. On the good news front, Animaniacs reboot is in the works. Steven Spielberg is talking about doing an Animaniacs reboot
And being involved, yeah.
Yes, please. More Animaniacs.
I mean, I'm kind of two minds of this. I'm like, does They Might Be Giants have a lot more songs that they need to animate?
No, that's
cool.
Tiny Toon Adventures.
Huh?
Yeah,
Tiny Toon Adventures.
Tiny Toon.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah. Animaniacs was Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. They had original music. I love Animaniacs, and I think it won a Peabody or something for educational TV. It was actually really good kids cartoons.
Yeah, I loved all of those.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the possibility of more Animaniacs. I think that's what we need on TV.
They just added Lin-Manuel Miranda to DuckTales as Gizmo Duck.
Oh,
that is a sentence I never thought anyone would say.
That whole cast is just crazy. It just keeps making me say things that are nuts.
Yes.
Who is Fenton Crackshell, which I mentioned a couple episodes back, and you had no idea who I was talking about.
No idea.
Okay, anyway.
All right. There's also some news on Arrested Development. Apparently, Arrested Development Season 5, which is going forward, says the cast has much more time together in Season 5. And they actually put out a picture of that sort of was taking a shot at the notion of that they had not all been in the scene together. Netflix is aware this was a problem.
Yeah, they took a picture of a crate or one of those shipping crates. And it's locked and now they're stuck together in here or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, yes.
Yeah.
Good. That was a huge problem, and they need to be all kind of working off of each other rather than running their own individual plot lines.
Yeah. There's Will Arnett said that it's going to be structured more like earlier seasons, sharing scenes together as opposed to being off on their own side adventures, and that, he said it's an opportunity to see everyone else. It'll be very rewarding, but he said in his gravelly voice.
Yeah, it's going to be an opportunity to hang out with each other. And I'll have time between making a great show, BoJack Horseman, and a terrible show, Flaked. I can do this.
Wow! Thanks for coming, Mr. Job. That was great. All right, and finally, here's news that I wouldn't think would be exciting, but Brendan Fraser's coming to TV.
What?
So Brendan Fraser, who. I'm not gonna make fun of Screen Rant. I'm really only a little bit. Screen Rant has an article about Brendan Fraser joining the Trust, and they spend 3 paragraphs before they get to the story explaining who Brendan Fraser is, and it's the weirdest detail. It's he had quite a run of success in the 1990s. He was the lead roles in School Ties and Encino Man. Then he was in George of the Jungle. Then he was in Gods and Monsters and had 2 biggest hits of his career on The Mummy. And I'm like, none of this is germane to the story they're telling. It's like,
look, I like pulling from this site because the headlines are like just straightforward enough, and that's like all I really need to know. That's something we can discuss.
I loved this because it was like someone, the writer has a crush on Brendan Fraser, and it clearly always has. And it was like, I want you people to love Brendan Fraser, and here's why you should love him.
Oh, it's not just him. There's a huge outcry for Brendan Fraser to make a comeback. There's a Reddit thread that's like a subreddit that's like completely dedicated to it.
Yep.
That's like freaking out, and people are ecstatic. Like they've been clamoring for like, where's that guy? Where's his comeback?
Like he makes those goofy lists of like BuzzFeed, why won't Hollywood hire so and so anymore? And it's always just a list of stupid reasons, like they aren't going for jobs because they aren't acting anymore. Like,
he probably has plenty of money. He's got Journey to the Center of the Earth money.
But now he's going to be in a show called Trust.
Yeah, so we talked about Trust before. This is about the legendary oil man John Paul Getty and his son John III, who was kidnapped in 1973, and family drama and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And
it's going to have Donald Sutherland. It's going to have Hilary Swank.
Yep. And Brendan Fraser is playing private investigator James Fletcher Chase, who is an eccentric but also a master fixer.
This sounds great. I'm sold.
I'm in. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I haven't been this excited since Matthew Lillard joined The Bridge.
Oh, my God.
Remember Matthew Lillard's everywhere now.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard was great on The Bridge.
Yeah, he was really good.
I don't remember anything about that show.
Unbreakable.
Stay alive, damn it.
It's a miracle.
Season 3?
I'll now have that in my head for the next week.
Oh, it's been in my head. This is one of those shows where they only have the option to skip the credits. I always want to watch the theme song to Kimmy Schmidt.
It's so good, and it's just the right amount of time.
It's perfect. I loved this season.
Yeah, initially going in, I was like, how do I feel about this? There's a couple like jokes that were like swings and misses kind of early on.
Yeah.
But by the end, I was like just binging through all of it, and it was so great.
Yeah.
And same as the previous seasons, the jokes are packed so tightly on top of each other that it makes for an incredibly rewatchable show.
Yeah.
Like I catch lines that characters say in the background, just the amount of times that people run into things and yell callback or like.
Yeah.
The show is so meta. It's also so referential of like tropes. It just really knows what it's doing, and
it's got a deep cast. It's got the same kind of thing that both 30 Rock and Simpsons did, which is like minor characters, that sort of strange absurdity of everything.
It took me forever to realize that was Judah Friedlander because he didn't have his glasses and
You didn't know that was him?
Oh,
I was like, it sounds just like Judah Friedlander,
Oh my God.
that's not. Wait, it is. He just grew a
spotted
beard.
that guy right away. Ray Liotta?
Yeah, right.
Ray Liotta? What the hell? That was crazy.
They got Dionne Warwick in there.
Grant?
Yeah.
That was not Dionne Warwick.
Ah.
By the way, I'm mixed on Maya Rudolph. I'm not always a fan. In fact, I'm generally not a fan. Mm-hmm. Maya Rudolph as Dionne Warwick is everything.
She killed it.
Oh my God, it was just so good.
I feel like I don't know Dionne Warwick enough to know if like what she was doing there to like
close
parody
enough.
her.
I have no idea if that was a dead-on impersonation of Dionne Warwick or not, but it was hysterical.
Well, all I know about Dionne Warwick is that she started up a psychic hotline in the 80s and the 90s. So she got a little woo-woo, and I believe this was sort of poking fun at that. But yeah, her Dionne Warwick, the telethon.
Oh God, Hurricane Tammy with an eye.
I don't know how much of that was improv.
That was just
I assume
great.
a fair amount.
Yeah, I started laughing as soon as she said Hurricane Tammy with an eye.
Yes.
I was really impressed with this show with how it started advancing all of the characters, kind of giving them a lot more depth.
Yeah.
Like it seems like I feel like they've done this before where they dismiss the value of what Kimmy brings into their lives.
Yeah.
But when Titus has to go run and like get her back.
Yes.
And throwing the rock through the window to like say, "I need you. You make me a better person," kind of thing. Yep. Jerry Maguire-ish or whatever. And she's like, "You know what I want." I died with the different like terrible high five scenes they were doing.
They brought Zan back.
Yes, that was great.
I thought that was really surprising. And
do you guys like Zan?
I kind of like Zan.
Oh, I feel like they
need to do more with her because she's a little one note in her hatred of Kimmy. But every so often, I like the
actress. I was wanting them to do something. The best moment they had with her in the first season was when Kimmy calls her out on the Babysitter Club book, and I wanted more of that.
Yeah, I want more of Zan not being the person she's acting like.
So the daughter in the Mick is what Zan ought to be to me.
Yeah, she should be more of a confident asshole.
Thorn in the side, yeah. Like, I don't need you down here.
But she wears her insecurities too much on her sleeve. I think it's just a little bit unsettling to me.
I did love Kimmy just destroying the rowing crew team.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Because of the crank.
Yeah. What I also love is the when the wrestling when she goes with the rowing team out to like a party, and we're presented with this thing, and this happens a lot in Kimmy Schmidt, where the rowing team are the ones who they live in the real world, and they sort of take Kimmy under their wing, and they're the adults, and she's this grown up kid. But then when they go to the party, and they're all trying to be these sort of, they're all throwing up and binge drinking, and Kimmy steps back, and because she's not raised in this culture, she's able to step back and sort of be the adult, and you see that she brings something, her innocence brings something in besides just being naive.
Yeah,
I think that's really good. That's a big part of it. Is that, and also Ellie Kemper, I notice this every time. Her like grinning and smiles and like base enthusiasm that's there. That's in every scene, whether she's the focus or not.
Yeah, I don't know how they could have cast anyone else. I don't know. I think they could have made the show if Ellie Kemper weren't her one.
It couldn't. There's no way you could do the show with Ellie Kemper.
And that's, I mean, I don't know how true that is to Ellie Kemper herself, but she played a very similar role in The Office, where she's just like, she's this glowing ball of warm energy that you just want to be around.
Yeah.
And it's
her ignorance is bliss, and it's coming off her in waves.
It's adorable. It's endearing. I get all the charm of it.
So I'm not always the biggest fan of Jacqueline.
I was a little bit bigger of a fan this season,
but I thought they did good stuff with it this season.
Yeah, I didn't like season 2 as much for Jacqueline's character, but season 3 was better.
I love that they kill off.
Oh man, the thing they did with her husband.
They have him come back as much more handsome, but they also kill off the Redskins and make the name. The gun taker away or whatever.
The reveal on the naming of the NFL was such a great. That was so good.
Josh Charles, just the inclusion of that guy in anything. Like I really love that actor. Ever since "Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead." But, but like I think one of his lines is how can you actually love my brother? Has he ever even won at sex? I always win. I'm always first. I'm fastest.
Josh Charles plays entitled douchebag better than just anybody else. It's
Wet Hot American Summer. He's just been great.
That whole scene, that whole episode that was him and what was Titus's name?
Cork,
Floopsy McGee, Flouncy McGee, Flouncy McGee. That whole thing. Where they were battling for Jacqueline was hilarious.
Our whole sexual thing is getting weird here. I bet you couldn't carry me around like a baby. Want to bet?
Also, they do the best nonsense music in this. The Boobs in California song is also going to be stuck in my head. And I love that they blissfully sing all this conspiracy nonsense, but then he's like, then I did the worst thing I've ever done.
It just goes and throws up for hours. But I mean, I have hiking on sunlight in my head. Like, I believe I can swim.
I mean, the two things that take me out of the show, I think, are Zan's character. Obviously, doesn't do it for me in the way that you guys do. But Amy Sedaris' character as well.
Yeah, just a little over the top even for this show.
I'm like, what show are you in?
Yes.
Like everyone else is quirky, and she's straight cartoon. She's Woody Woodpecker, and I'm like, all right.
Although
I know her character's supposed to be trying too hard, but it feels like Amy Sedaris is trying too hard, and it's
Although the weird thing is, Maya Rudolph's Dionne Warwick is as cartoonish as you get, and it works perfectly.
I didn't like that one either.
Oh man, that kill! I thought, that was
I
the
did
best
see that
thing
you
ever.
liked
That
it.
worked better
my
for me
favorite
because
thing.
Warwick's a celebrity in the show,
Yeah.
and so can be outside of it. But Sidaris's character, Mimi, is
She's a character.
she's a train wreck character.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
I don't have enough reason why nobody's thrown her out of a room. I mean, not just into a closet,
Yeah.
but like, no, why is she on the show?
Rachel Dratch playing herself and her lesbian wife.
Yeah.
That killed me. That was really good too. And Tina Fey showing up as the train wreck that is Kimmy's counselor.
Yes.
I mean, they're rolling in a bunch of 30 Rock characters or actors. They had
Yeah.
Lutz in there.
Lutz is in there too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I also like Daveed Diggs playing Perry.
Yeah.
But I feel like they didn't do a lot with him.
Well, I mean, I think that they introduced some love interests, but they don't really want to dwell too much on that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was actually really amused by the episode where she goes to church.
Yes.
And the whole thing about, like, wanting to backstab, but then she finds a church of a bunch of people that just do a bunch of terrible things.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, we all do terrible things. we're all double parked. We got to wrap this church up.
Yeah. I thought Laura Dern was really good as sort of the crazy fiance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
I was expecting a little bit more John Hamm, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised that they're not leaning too much on the mole woman aspect.
Yeah. Although his frustration at Kimmy when she was trying to get her to sign divorce papers was
that
great.
was wonderful. Yeah. But at the end of season 1, when they have to go back to the trial, that was a problem for me in season 1 where, I mean, I enjoyed all of it, but it felt like a break in the show where I kind of had like 3/4 of one show and then this weird trial bubble.
Just like last season where she leaves to go find her mom.
Yeah.
And also, like when you leave,
It's anytime they leave New York.
their setting. It's like, no, this is home base. Just stay in home base.
It needs to be in was it Lower Dogmouth?
Like,
Is
yes.
that word? It's got to be in Lower Dogmouth, New York.
I didn't like Jackie leaving to go to North Dakota either. So her parents coming here was a lot.
Oh, that was
better
great.
for me.
I love her parents. I love how laid back they are about the whole thing.
And they've expanded that and them out a little bit too.
Yeah.
The dad cutting the leaf to look.
Yeah.
What actress it
Also,
was.
we didn't mention Peter Riegert playing Artie, Carol Kane's love interest.
Yeah.
I think he's great. I've always liked that actor. I can never remember what his name is until I look him up, and I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's been a ton of stuff I liked.
Yeah, he's pretty solid addition that gives a crucial grounding to 3 over-the-top characters.
Yeah.
Well, and like I love Carol Kane's character. I love what a mess she is, and she's great.
But her kind of like growing up and like trying to be in a relationship that's a little bit more healthy.
Yeah.
And Kimmy kind of pushing her boundaries, like going to school initially and then trying to figure out a job that she can work, before the sort of Deus Ex Machina ending here. But I'm okay with that too, because that seems like a fun kind of new direction for her to go in.
I also
It's basically big.
I love that his store is called Big Naturals. That is such a Kimmy Schmidt joke. It just keeps getting thrown around. Just a background gag.
I love
it's just there whenever you want
the
it.
iterations of the apartment building. I mean, at this point in season 3, it's a tugboat on its side.
Yeah. It's just when he's like, cruise? What cruise? She's like, tugboat? What tugboat?
Yeah. Well, and last season, she says something like, oh, yeah, and that's drywall. That is definitely not just newspaper. And, like when Dawn goes through the wall and, like, it's clearly newspaper. Yeah.
Somehow she turned a tugboat on its side and made it into a building that they're all living in.
Oh, and in season 1, this building's got good bones. Oh, I've got to move my ex-husband's bones.
One of the only things I didn't like is Mikey's story. I don't care about Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of Titus as well, trying to figure out where he stands in a relationship and trying to mature for it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel like Mikey was a good fit, but I didn't feel like the other guy, Ruben was necessarily great either.
I mean, honestly, Titus is such a dynamo. You kind of need someone with a big personality to match with him. And I think that's what they need to find, a character who's just as interesting,
or someone who's just like pure confidence.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed Titus's Lemonade episode, and I enjoyed getting to see Titus grow in the sense of realizing, like, oh, wait, I need you to go meet this dentist I dated and swore that I would live in the suburbs for.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great moment, like, for Titus, but
Yeah.
But it made Mikey purely a tool for a plot. Like oh, I need Titus to grow. Throw Mikey at him, and then have Mikey's character evaporate.
Yeah.
It was a great. Yeah, that was just like a great moment for relationships on TV. And, and this kind of shredding the idealism, I guess, of relationships.
Right. Also, there was an Orange is the New Black crossover.
Yeah, what?
That was great.
With Black Cindy playing Black Cindy.
What I really want is for Gretchen to show up in Orange is the New Black next season. Yeah, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Just in passing, just one episode,
just in the background, talking to like 3 or 4 girls, Norma's group.
Yes, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing in the world.
They could do it.
They could do it. I really want that to happen.
Oh, man. Well, let's go ahead and jump over to talking about the CW finales.
Yeah.
Because you guys were able to catch, I think, most of them, right?
I caught Supergirl.
Oh, okay.
But Les has seen all of them.
Yep, I caught, well,
and Here's the thing. My caveat is I've realized I don't care. Like, and this is the weirdest thing. Like, I still like all these shows, but I've got too much time, and I'm like, I don't care about spoiling any of them. I wasn't wrapped up in any of the plots this year.
I watched the end of Flash because I still love Flash, even though it has annoyed this season. Just about broke it. I'm so tired of him fighting speedsters.
Yeah, we need no speedster next season.
But regardless, I liked all of them did this time. No matter what my problems were with the season overall, that finale was, if nothing else, it was game change big. Like they swung for some huge fences.
Well, I hear they killed somebody big in Flash.
I will agree that they keep killing a character that they have already undercut that drama of, and so that they are just like trolling you with it. I mean, they're just messing with your emotions. But yeah, they kill a character that I love, but
they'd be smart to make that character keep that character dead. They've never really known entirely what to do with her.
No, I'm talking to somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, there's another character.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, they have a death that's maybe or maybe not meaningful. But overall, I liked where Flash ended, and I'm interested to see what happens next time. I had stopped watching Arrow entirely.
Yeah.
I hate Adrian Chase. The whatever TV movie of the week, Patrick Bateman, just should have got shot like 8 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And all this bullshit of I'm going to torture Ollie until he admits he's a killer, but he won't. It's been the same one note stupid plan for 10 or 11 hours of television.
Yeah, I was on board for Team Arrow, and that was all that was keeping me this year.
Yeah, and all of what I was on board for fell apart like 10 or 12 episodes ago, like halfway through the season. Yeah. Anyway, the finale actually worked out much better than I expected it to.
Oh, okay.
They bring back Slade Wilson in a way that I like, because they have characters constantly through the episode going, why is he with us? Like, no, we're not okay with this. And it was a good moment. And it ends with a comic book. You don't see the bodies, but a lot of shit has to change. It's something that's got to be dealt with. I only watched the Supergirl finale because you said it was good. And I agree. That was
good?
Freaking amazing.
The funny thing about Supergirl to me is that they were getting a little pushback on, they've always been sort of a feminist show just by definition. And then they made Alex a lesbian, had a relationship with Maggie, which I love. It's a fantastic relationship. And they were definitely sort of swinging into the sort of, hey, we're a liberal show. And then they named the last 2 episodes Resist and Nevertheless She Persisted.
Yes.
And there's like a definite reference to like Trump. I mean, they are unapologetic about where they are, and they're like, look, I'm honestly surprised they didn't have Kevin Sorbo be the bad guy, so they have him as a stand-in.
No, but they had him be weak and have. I mean, even their bad villain is a powerful woman.
Yeah. Man, Terry Hatcher was so good as a bad guy, and she's so vicious.
But how about Supergirl flat out beating the crap out of Superman?
Yeah.
And then later on, when she has to be the champion of Earth in a big duel, and I think somebody's like, well, why not Superman? And without missing a beat, Kal-El goes, she just beat me.
Yeah.
She is the champion of Earth.
I love that they call that out. She says something like, well, you were mind controlled. He says, no, I was not holding back. That was me at full strength. That was for all people in the audience. They're like, hey, just so you know, she didn't beat him because he was weaker.
We're not going to reveal later that Silver Kryptonite is his 75% power or something.
We are saying that Supergirl is more powerful than Superman.
She is technically older than him, and I know,
Yeah.
right? I thought it was cool that, I mean, she cracks the shit out of him in the face.
Also, I did not realize how bad I'd miss Cat Grant.
Yep.
I did not realize how much of the heart of the show she was, because the emotional content of the show went way back up when she came back in. The humor when it was better. The bit where she's in the office and Guardian shows up to save her and win, and she says, "Hi, James, I can see your eyes through the mask." That was great. I loved that.
I loved Clark showing up and her immediately trying to put makeup on.
Yes.
And yeah,
I'd forgotten how much I liked Callista Flockhart, but I was like, the show doesn't really need her. And I'm like, man, it loses something without
Jimmy's
her.
not getting that job done at all.
It's too bad. Yeah, it's really too bad. I've turned out to really like Jimmy as Guardian, though. I think that's a great role for him.
And Legends of Tomorrow wrapped up a few weeks ago. That's about all I can say about that show. It's somehow still going. No one's noticed to cancel it, and so I get to see Firestorm on my TV sometimes when they remember he has powers.
And there's going to be a new cast. Like they are changing up the cast next season. So yeah,
whatever. Somehow that show is still on. I watch it on Saturday mornings with a bowl of chocolate frosted sugar bombs and a stuffed tiger. Like, it's perfect.
All right, Grant.
Well, actually, all right, Les, because Twin Peaks is back on TV.
Yeah.
Yes. And Les is our resident Twin Peaks expert, as Randy and I haven't actually really watched this show.
I watched a couple seasons of a couple episodes of the first season.
All right.
Didn't plug into it.
When did you watch when it aired? Did anybody watch it when it aired?
I didn't watch it when it's aired, and that's why.
Okay. Starters backstory. I don't like David Lynch movies.
Okay.
I think the only David Lynch movie I liked is the one that he disavowed. I like Dune. Okay. Which actually angers Dune fans as well. So his movies make me feel like I'm being trolled, like he's setting me up to look for meaning, but there's not like if you design puzzles where the jigsaw pieces don't fit, like just to be a dick. Like that's what David Lynch movies feel like when I watch them. Twin Peaks felt like that when I first tried to watch it. Like when it was airing and there was hype around it.
Right,
I remember seeing it mentioned in a gag in an X-Men comic where like Havoc is pissed because they have to go on a mission. He's going to miss Twin Peaks. Like that's how widespread this got. So I didn't actually sit down and watch this show until 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
On the prompting of several friends of mine who were excited about I think it might have just been a rumor or that had just been confirmed that Lynch was actually going to be involved in the reboot.
Right.
And they were like, oh, wow, like really excited. I thought, okay, this is going to be a thing. I should legit give this, if it's still going at 25 years, I should give this a watch now. Watching it with distance from the 90s, that, at least for me watching it now, it feels like that show was doing a direct enough burn on other 90s television, but doing it in like 92.
Okay.
Like so close that I don't, no one they were making fun of could have possibly gotten the like.
Yeah,
they were not necessarily making fun of, but like pointing out the artifice of television and how soap opera fake even real looking television is. And then they have characters in the show watch a even faker sitcom. I mean, a soap opera rather. But there's themes of doubling. There's all these thematic things. Somewhere in watching those first two seasons a few years ago, it clicked that this is adding up. There's a coherent story here. None of the characters know it because they're all just quirky people in a small town. Like, none of them are geniuses. None of them should know what's going on. All of them live way, way too close to the power lines of whatever supernatural magic things in the woods. So, like, whatever their quirks were, I feel like they're dialed to 11 by virtue of living in proximity to something that the thing going on in the show is like an elder gods Native American spirit deal. That's a flat out horror movie.
Okay.
Like, it is flat out terrifying and kills people and possesses people, and Laura Palmer's death is the result of a possession, and like the show has this huge supernatural thing going, but no character understands what's happening. And most of the characters that you're getting anything coherent from are investigating like a murder that is really just a symptom
of a
huge crazy thing, that no one's looking at.
Your description of this makes me want to watch it way more than the first episodes I watched.
Unfortunately, it's also awkward as fuck. It is the most plasticky, weird, over the top, and I feel like Lynch is doing it on purpose for the reason that every time on the show I start to tune out and go, okay, this is just a quirky scene. Like, this scene purely exists to make a joke about donuts or so that so-and-so can be weird. Inevitably, I end up realizing later that someone said a very obvious clue later.
Yeah.
And you just don't realize, like, oh, wow, yeah, all right. There were, for instance, the log lady.
Yeah.
Which I'm holding a log prop, I realize.
Yes.
So her log has a message for you. Like in the first episode of the reboot, or the relaunch, whatever, she calls up the sheriff and gives him, like, sets him off on, like, you've got to find this thing, and it's this whole arcane clue. So there's something evil in Old God or whatever in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
She has a piece of wood cut from those trees, I would imagine, and she gets indecipherable oracle messages from her log that she doesn't understand, and she just tells them to people. If this were in Lord of the Rings, this would completely fly.
Yeah, sure, it makes sense. Yeah.
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 So she looks bug shit crazy because it's in Twin Peaks, like it's in a small town in the middle of nowhere. But it kind of feels like Frailty to me, of like the movie Frailty, that, you know, if the whole premise of that was like there's a dad in the 70s that thinks God told him to go kill demons, only you get the sense through the movie that God really did. And I got the sense watching Frailty that if biblical stuff was really happening now, that's how crazy it would look.
Yeah.
And I watch Twin Peaks and think, wow, you know, if you had something really old school magic happen, this is how friggin' weird you'd look. And the first time a dead body happened and an FBI agent showed up, you wouldn't get the X-Files FBI agent necessarily. Like, you'd get people walking around going, what is wrong with this town?
So how is the new season?
For me, they're doing an exceptional job of revisiting and doing callbacks, but are moving they're moving a story forward.
Okay.
Like they are both. They feel like they're picking up the direct thread of the bigger mysteries that happened in the show. Not Laura Palmer dying, but like the bigger stuff that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they are directly picking that up and addressing it in a straightforward way that I didn't. People are going to probably flip out about it being called straightforward on this, but a comparatively straightforward way. Like, it feels like the big mystery things are happening. Like, what happened to Agent Cooper is an ongoing story, and I feel like it's moving along. They're not just hey, let's get the band back together and hang out in the town.
Okay.
Which this could have been a Gilmore Girls-ish kind of like, let's hang out and have a reunion.
Right.
And instead they really are, I feel like, moving there's going to be 18 episodes of it. I really hope
18 episodes?
Yes.
Wow. That's a big return.
So they
That's
dropped
seasons,
four
right?
of them. They dropped 4 of them right now, and I'm not sure how they're going to do the rest.
Oh, I didn't know how long.
I think it's 18 episodes.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, as a general rule, the reunions have not been satisfying.
Yeah, this thing, David Lynch directed every bit of this show so far, as I understand. He may have misdirecting some of the season 2 episodes, but most of this is him at every turn. The 2-hour movie that came out and flopped afterwards, it's a prequel.
Yeah.
Fire Walk with Me.
That aged better than when it was first released. But
I've heard that.
I heard that it got booed at like Cannes.
Oh, it got booed. Yeah, that was a huge story. It got
and
booed.
then he showed the premiere of the show at Cannes and got a standing ovation and like teared up because it was like some redemption.
Yeah, because it's, even though that movie's a prequel, watching it before you watch the original show, I think would be a bad idea. But I would not watch the new season without having watched Fire Walk with Me.
That's what I've heard too. That's kind of crazy.
So you watch both seasons, watch Fire Walk with Me, then start in this. Okay.
No, then you watch episode 1. Then you watch this season. Then you watch episode 3.
Are you talking about Star Wars?
Yes, you have to. You have to put
machete
Star Wars
order?
in there. Yes,
Why do
machete order.
why do we have to do Star
It's
Wars?
Twin Peaks machete order.
Okay, cool.
No, I mean, as far as like big, weird, artistic shows that are trying to do a lot of things and succeeding on most of them, I'm incredibly impressed with Twin Peaks.
Wow, that's cool.
I really feel I need to watch it.
I want to watch all of it if I'm going to watch it, and I couldn't plug into it last time I tried.
But when? When do
I have time to watch any TV?
You know, I only have one more week of The Leftovers.
And again, Randy, like, this isn't. I'm caught up on iZombie because I can watch iZombie with an eye on something else and still enjoy it.
But Twin Peaks is
Twin Peaks. Every time I start to zone out, and I think I missed something.
Oh yeah. I don't think I can really watch any TV without full attention on it.
Yeah, well, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Always Sunny.
I have to watch it.
Full attention? Okay.
I have to watch all the jokes, and I have to replay if I miss a couple seconds. It's like unnecessary, but I'm like OCD about that.
You may have a problem.
I do that to Kimmy Schmidt. That's a hard one for me.
Yeah. Well, Leftovers is in its penultimate episode.
Yep.
And Randy, you watch this. I don't know if you're like just off the bandwagon now.
So last week I was a little off the bandwagon. This week, back on the bandwagon because I know that Leftovers is ending. Mm-hmm. What I want is them to do a spin-off that is entirely set in the world of International Assassin. Because the ridiculousness of this whole thing is so amazing. The President of the United States has a twin brother. And the only way that they can access the secret vault is through a biometric scan. That all sounds a little nuts. The biometric scan requires you to use your penis because, as they say, with plastic surgery, anyone could be doing, would go for plastic surgery. No one imagines going so far as to double a penis.
And the sound it makes when he drops his dick on this little platform, the splunk, is just so heavy.
Somebody's day at work was that Foley.
Yeah, it was dropping some large fish or just those giant tuna on the table.
By the way, is Justin Theroux married? Is he a married dude?
He's married to Jennifer Aniston.
Okay, I was going to say that dude is definitely making a good use of his time here because he shows up and that guy is ripped.
He's ripped.
I'm like, oh my god, that man.
He's also packing down there.
I'm like, I'm as straight as they come, but good lord, that dude is a shining star.
You remember the issue they had in season 1 where he's like jogging?
Yeah,
and they had to get him. They had to have him wear 2 pairs of underwear because they're like, we shot that other scene and you were flopping everywhere. It was bad news.
God damn it, Justin Theroux.
Yeah. So anyway, I love how I've been getting into internet discussions with people on Reddit in threads about this.
How's that going?
Because this show very much the writers are skirting the line between a show that a skeptic can enjoy and a true believer can enjoy. It allows you to kind of choose your own path of what you want to bring into it and what you want to take out of this show. And I love watching this show through the lens of a true skeptic. I mean, aside from the unexplainable 2% of the population disappearing, I feel like every other event can, for the most part, be explained, through rational ideas. And so I debate all these people like back and forth about all of this. And they were so determined that like when this episode comes out, if he survives this and if he goes in there and he sees Christopher Sunday and all this, like, then that's confirmation. But I feel like how much more confirmation can you get that this is all just in Kevin's mind than when he manifests Patty back? And just by him thinking it, he wills her into existence. I mean, that the whole point of this is this is all in his subconscious, and this is him working out his issues.
But he's not dying. You don't think he's going to another place? You don't think this is
I don't think there's any like physical realm that he's entering. This is all his subconscious as he's close to death.
You don't think he's actually dying and coming back?
No, I don't think he's actually dying.
Interesting. I do. Oh. Well, we've already had the supernatural, and then we had the disappearance of 2% of the population. So
yeah, but that's the only instance.
A dude who can die and come back doesn't seem. I don't know, man. The dog's going feral. There's been all kinds of weird shit going on.
Dogs can act weird if there's some weird magnetism. I don't know whatever other senses they have.
All the crazy flooding, the weird confluence of people.
There was no flooding though.
I don't know.
When he tries to drown himself in the second season and the river drains, there's an earthquake. Earthquakes can open a fissure right under there and drain everything, and it can drain it fast.
This is interesting. No, I'm on the other side. I'm on their supernatural shit going on.
When he's buried, he can be his heart can kick back in after working through a poison, which can slow his heart rate down enough that people think he's dead.
Oh,
and he can crawl back out. That's not unheard of. It was a shallow grave.
What about the shooting?
Him getting shot? I mean, people have gotten 50 Cent got shot like 8 times. And he walked away from that. I mean, you can get shot and survive.
To me, it's more interesting if there's supernatural in it. So I want the supernatural to be there.
I don't need it. I love the parallels. I mean, and man, how many different parallels could I draw to Lost in this particular episode?
Oh, yeah.
A man in white, a man in black, the dual identity of the individual self, and him having to fight against himself.
The Lost pulls from Western religion as well?
Oh yeah, I mean
one of my biggest issues with Lindelof and the style of Leftovers in general, which I generally enjoy, but I can understand where people don't get into it, is that they have all these great ideas that they never come at straight. They always come at them sideways. Mm-hmm. So this episode has Kevin being the president in this sort of stark white suit. It's a very Warren Ellis look.
He's also very Jesus,
and it's the clearly basically what has happened is that the Guilty Remnant has expanded to become a political movement, and taken over the U.S. And I'm like, that's the story I want to see. Like,
and he's the head puppet of it.
I want to see that story go on and develop. Like, but that's a side. It's a little thematic element.
I mean, I like the craziness and the playful nature of this, but I also love the very mature exploration of people's pain and grief and how they can't get over it when there's the introduction of the unexplainable kind of enters the realm of grief.
I do like that, and it's well done and all that, but the parts of the show that I enjoy the most are always the most ridiculous. The international assassin stuff, the lion sex cult on the boat stuff. Like, when it goes to the ridiculous areas, that's when I enjoy it. And so,
and it's interesting how each season it's kind of progressed and found like the first season, I felt like it kind of dipped its toes into the weird and surreal with some stuff, but it really wanted to hang out in gloomy melancholy town, right?
Yeah.
And second season, it went a little bit more to the bizarre and mystery, and now it's now it's just bonkers.
Yeah, second season was my favorite season by far.
Oh man, I'm fascinated by this one, especially because I mean it was a beautiful scene when he's reading the poem, and that was the trigger right there for me of what I needed to know for the end goal of this this season. And it isn't about this crisis of faith. It isn't about a potential Messiah and stopping the flood. It's a love story, and that's ultimately what this comes down to.
Yeah.
When Kevin and Kevin realize together that he fucked up with Nora.
Yeah.
And like the cue of the Beach Boys song, God Only Knows, while he's cutting his own heart out of him, his doppelganger.
Yeah, the music used in the show is fantastic.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get, but for the most part, what they're going to do with the last episode.
But we're headed to a tragic love story, right? Like,
I imagine.
Nora's gone, right? Or do you think he's going to, last minute, that they're going to wind up together?
Potentially. I read some interesting things from some other people. I mean, I don't necessarily want to go into all of that in case. I mean, I can wait one more week.
Fine. I thought Liv Tyler showing back up was a big surprise.
Yeah, I mean, did you think it was going to be Lori?
I thought it was going to be Lori.
I did too. Like in both instances, both with the vice president and then by the inside agent.
But Ann Dowd and Liv Tyler are both fantastic in this show, and I'm so glad they found a way to work them back in because they were both really great.
Yeah.
By the way, also, I love. There's a part of me that just wants them when they're done with Leftovers to do a new show that's like a crazy spy show where that kind of shit is what the world is like. Like you use penis scanners for your biometrics. If you need a failsafe, you install a key inside the living heart of someone. So you really have to want to use the nuclear weapons. I love the bonkers craziness of this world.
But just how much of this is like a reflection of Kevin's psyche?
Sure.
This idea that he feels in some way unique and defined by his dick.
Yeah.
That he feels locked into this world and he's fighting against two versions of himself because he likes to see himself both as this hero and he recognizes that he's a coward in some ways.
Yeah.
That he needs to not only, like, you know, the parallel to killing Patty in the second season, because if he kills him in this world, he's destroying that part of himself, or he's destroying that part of herself that can't let go of the grief.
Right.
And so he's destroying that part of himself that can't, that's too afraid to open himself emotionally to Nora, right?
Right.
But he goes a step further than that. Like, he's killed himself, like, or entered this near-death experience so many times that he decides to go the full nuclear option and just destroys the entire Earth.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's and then for it to move from there to conclude with them on the roof, which is a callback to the opening of the season.
Yeah.
With the cult that is all up on the roof and waiting and failing time and time again to meet the second coming of the rapture or whatever.
Right.
And Kevin Garvey Sr. is sitting up there, and he's just broken, just like that woman in the intro was. Yeah. I think that all tied it together. Do you want me to delve a little bit into what I think?
I'm curious. Yeah.
Okay. So Michael and John are sitting in that busted-ass church, and they're sleeping.
Yep.
And now Kevin's gotten up, and there's this shroud left over. If these guys were to see this and think that he's been this risen Messiah, they go back and rewrite the book of Kevin and proselytize this to the land. Nora, who doesn't want to steal the beach ball anymore, as like it was referenced in the Lori episode, she didn't want to be the mean CDC or whatever department it was, departed department, who's ruining people's joy or taking away their faith in something bigger that makes them not feel that pain, I guess. She and Kevin are just going to kind of go into hiding, and he's going to basically become this prophet to people that gives them hope. Something along those lines. Huh. But they're going to be together, but laying low and
we'll see. I don't know. I'm curious.
It doesn't work out between them. I don't know.
Or they blast her with radiation and she disintegrates.
Yeah. The last episode's called The Book of Nora.
Okay.
So it's about her. We'll see.
I'm just saying, 2018, HBO, coming to HBO, International Assassin.
We can hold out hope for that. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up there, because next week I'm not going to cry, because I don't think I know how.
No, you're a robot. You can't
But
cry.
I'm going to be bummed.
Oil will leak from your sockets.
Yeah. That's what it is. What is this liquid? Anyway, thanks, Les. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Grant.
We'll be back next week, guys. And stay tuned after next week's episode, because we're also going to be doing coverage of ATX Fest.
Yep.
Here in Austin. So we're excited for that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Until next week.
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Permanent Record Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, please go to patreon.com/TVDudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes, and help us out on iTunes by giving us a 5-star rating and writing a review. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and permanentrcrd.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.